Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be trying out the brand new, it's the Guerlain, it's the Parure foundation. This has come out in two different formulas. One is matte and one is more of a radiance. Now I picked up the one in matte because I have oily skin. This one has 18 different shades, but the Radiance foundation has 14 shades. And I picked this up from Selfridges, and when I did the order, I finally got my 6 Guerlain eyeshadow quad in Imperial Moon. I had the other 5, but I've just been waiting for that one. So I'm going to put that one on today as well. And I also picked up 4 of the Guerlain eyeliners as well. So this is the outside packaging of the Guerlain foundation. And the full name of this is the Parure Gold Skin Matte Foundation. It says it's no transfer, high perfection, 24-hour care and wear. It is infused with 24 karat gold and white peony, and it has an SPF of 15 and a PA triple plus. Now this is 35 mils instead of the standard 30 mils, and there's a reason for that. That's the packaging that they're using, so I'll talk about that in a minute. And also with this foundation you could also pick up a brush, but I passed on that. I've got plenty of foundation brushes, but I will use both a beauty blender today and also a makeup brush. So I have my BK Beauty foundation brushes and my Sonia G ones, and I've got a couple of others as well. So I definitely got plenty of them. So this foundation is made in France and it has a shelf life of 12 months from date of opening. I haven't tried this yet. I just received this in the mail today. So this is really a first impression video, but what I'll do as well as showing you what it's like in the room here, I'll also show you what it's like in natural light as well. Now today it isn't an overly sunny day, but the room that I show it in has really big windows, so you should be able to get a good look at it. Now I picked this up in shade 3N. This could be a little bit dark for me at the moment. I'm not too sure. We'll soon find out. But it is really difficult sometimes to find the right shade for you online. So here is the packaging of the foundation. It is a frosted glass and has a gold color cap. It just pulls off, and there is a pump for dispensing the foundation. So I'm going to just put a little bit on the back of my hand. I have given this a shake. It is a fairly runny foundation, so they call it a matte. I'm thinking it's probably going to be more like a soft matte instead of a flat matte. So the shade looks okay matched on my hand, but I'm just thinking it may be about half a shade out for my face, but we'll find out. So I haven't got any primer on yet, so I'm going to use the Hourglass Vanish. This is the Airbrush Primer. I love this. I finally got a backup of it. I use this primer a lot. Probably that one and Tom Ford primer I probably use the most, although I do have the Milk, the Hydro Grip one. I have the Sisley primer as well, and I also have a by Terry one, and I rotate through them all. It depends on the type of foundation that I'm using. Now because I don't think that this is going to be a flat matte foundation from what it looked like on my hand, then I've decided to use this primer. If I thought it was going to be quite a flat matte, then I would have gone for a primer. This one primer really doesn't go to a flat matte, but I probably would have used something more like the by Terry or probably the Sisley primer. So while I just let the primer set down for a minute or two, I'll just go through what Guerlain says about this foundation. It says that it is an unprecedented, no transfer matte finish. The Parure Gold complexion has embodied the ideal alliance of makeup and skincare for an unmatched youthful glow. So that's what makes me think this is more of a soft matte. It's boasting an ultra sensory texture. Parure Gold's Skin Mattes formula is 85% rejuvenating skincare based for a beautiful skin application after application. They also say that the no transfer technology lies at the heart of this new formula, offering 24 hours infallible hold, a luminous matte effect with a velvety feel. A hint of pure 24 karat gold is associated to a duo of white peony extracts in a formula which instantly offers an exceptional complexion and a more beautiful and luminous skin day after day. And they go on further to explain why there is 35 ml of product in the bottle instead of the usual 30 ml. And it says, this new container meets strict requirements, leading to a reduced environmental impact. The package glass has been reduced, offers a greater capacity, increasing from 30 ml previously to 35 ml nowadays. It is produced using recycled materials, and the screwable pump now facilitates the product's recycling. So you must be able to screw the pump out and then recycle this part here. The delicately frosted transparent glass accentuates the depth of the different foundation shades. The gold letters and the precious gold radiance of the cap highlights the object's elegance, and it really is an elegant looking product. And I was just having a look through the ingredients list, and it does say that there is fragrance in here. So I'll let you know whether it's overpowering or not once I'm applying it. So I'm just going to give it another shake, this bottle, just to make sure that it is supposed to be that runny texture and maybe not a little bit thicker. So I'll just give it a few more shakes, and then I'm going to put a pump and a half on the back of my hand. Now, what I'm going to do is on this side, my left side of my face, I'll use a beauty blender, and on my right side, I will use the BK Beauty 101 foundation brush. So I'm going to use the beauty blender first, and I'll just tap it into the product. And the shade is possibly a little bit dark, but I think it'll be fine. It will definitely be fine more towards the summer. It's now spring here in New Zealand, so this shade that's just a fraction, possibly a little bit too dark, is going to be perfect in the summertime. Now, this does have a fragrance. It smells really beautiful, but it's not overpowering. With some Guerlain products, there can be an overwhelming fragrance in them, and this isn't really like that. It's a little bit more on the subtle side, but you can smell it. Just so you know, because there are some people out there that don't like fragrance in their foundations. So this is applying really lovely. It goes on quite easily. Some foundations, when they say that they're matte, they can go on a little bit more thick. This doesn't seem to be doing that. We'll see what it's like when I use the brush. So considering that a beauty blender sort of shears out a foundation just a fraction more than a brush, at this stage I would say that is giving me a light towards medium type of finish. So I'm just going to take a little bit more of the foundation, and I'm just going to put it over this area here just to see if it builds. And it looks like that it does build, and builds really beautifully too. And then the excess that's just left on my sponge, I'm just going to put that over my eyelid, and I'll tap some under my eye as well. We'll see how that performs and see whether it dries down too much. Hopefully it won't, because I don't like it if a product dries down under my eyes, because it tends to accentuate my lines and wrinkles. Although underneath this I have done my skincare with lots of moisturizer, and also my sunscreen, which has a lot of moisturizing ingredients in it as well. So they're very moisturized before I use this foundation. So that's with the left side done, side with the foundation, and I've got no foundation on that side yet. So it does cover really beautifully. This would be a medium finish. Now, especially since I've built it up through here, I don't think it would build any more than that, although I might get more coverage using the brush, so we'll find out that in a minute. It sits really nicely. It doesn't give any polka dot effect on my pores. It tends to have a slight blurring effect, but when you use a beauty blender and you push a foundation in, that always tends to help if you want to sort of diminish how your pores look. I think it gives a really lovely finish. It's definitely a soft matte. You can still see the glow that it gives, and it looks really lovely. I'm glad it's not a flat matte. I think this looks really, really nice. So now I'm going to take the BK Beauty, the 101, and we'll just do the other side. Picked up a little bit too much product, I think. It's quite interesting. I think a brush, you use actually less of the product. I think using the beauty blender, it sort of swallowed quite a bit of the product. So you'll use less product by using a brush. And by using the brush as well, you instantly get more coverage than the beauty blender, even on this side, without even going over it again. It has covered all my redness up here, whereas even where I built it up a little bit with the sponge, I can still see, just faintly, but I can still see my veins through there, my broken veins, and can also see my sunspot through there as well. So I would say that the brush is definitely the way to go with this foundation. It goes on really lovely with the brush as well. So that's with all the foundation on, and you can see there's definitely more coverage where I use the brush. And I am going to add a bit more just through here using the brush as well. But I just wanted you to see the difference. I don't know whether you can pick it up on the camera, but I can still slightly see through here, like I was saying, my veins and sunspot. Whereas here, it's definitely, this is a real solid medium finish on the side using the brush. But I'm just going to see how this builds now that this has been sitting for a couple of minutes on my face. I'm just going to grab the last little bit that I have on my hand, and I'm just going to stipple it through here just to get that extra coverage. Now there may be people out there that want more of a lighter coverage instead of that strong medium that I've got. So you could still use the beauty blender, but probably what I would do next time if I wanted a lighter finish with this foundation is just take the foundation off the back of my hand with my finger and dot it on my face, and then blend it in with your beauty blender instead of dabbing the beauty blender into the foundation, because I think the sponge swallowed quite a bit of it up. But that's with it all done now. I think this looks really lovely. This is definitely a shade, it's about half a shade too dark. If they'd had a 2.5N, I would have got it. It's just that the 2N looked a little bit light, but I do think that this will be really great for the summertime, so there's no need for me to give it away or anything like that. I think, yeah, it'll be really good once it is summertime here in New Zealand. So I'm just going to have a really close look at this. So there is no polka dots with this foundation. It's nothing like earlier in the year, Hermes released some sort of skin tint. I can't remember what it was. I've still got it in my drawer. I desperately need to do a foundation declutter. That was shocking. It left all these little polka dot marks all through here and accentuated your pores. So this is nothing like that. It actually covers the pores really, really beautifully. It did with the sponge, and it also did with the brush as well. Now I have put just what was left on the beauty blender and from my brush under my eyes, and it doesn't seem to, I'm just feeling it, doesn't seem to be drying down, so it's not going to accentuate my lines and wrinkles, and it's not settling into my wrinkles up through here or down here either. Now when I touch it, it does feel like it needs powdering down, but I think what I'll do today is use, I'm just going to move this here away. I think what I'll do today is just use a lighter powder, the Chanel powder that I have that tends to be a little bit more mattifying. So I think the powder that I'll use today is the Sisley one. And I'll use a big fluffy brush just to pat some powder on. I don't think I really need to buff it in, given that this is more of a matte foundation. I really like the soft matte of it because it still gives a beautiful subtle glow, and once I put a little bit of powder on, it will look more matte, but after an hour or two of wearing the foundation with the powder, then it will start to look like this again because my natural oils will come through. The main thing that I need to watch with the foundation, and I'll keep an eye on this one today, is that it's fine for it to be a glow like this, and fine once I've powdered for the glow to come back, but it's when it goes beyond a glow and then it starts looking oily, that's when a foundation doesn't look great on my skin. Even though this is a first impression video, I will pin a comment once I've uploaded this to YouTube, because I'll be wearing this foundation for about 12 or 14 hours and I'll let you know how it wore throughout the day. So what I'm going to do now is just grab my other camera and go into the lounge, and I'll show you this in natural light. So even though that today is cloudy, I do have a huge window in front of me, also a really large window to the left of me and to the right of me as well. So I think you'll get a really good look at what this looks like in natural light. So I'm just going to lean in a little bit closer so I can have a look at the viewfinder while I'm talking to you. Well, in the viewfinder, this looks really, really beautiful. And actually out on this light, it doesn't tend to look too dark, this foundation. Possibly the 2.5 might have been perfect, but I think this looks really nice. Doesn't seem to be settling into my lines, and I think it looks really lovely. It's very flattering over the pores. I think this gives a really beautiful look, and it has that really gorgeous subtle glow. It looks really lovely under natural light. I think this looks really good, and I'm just checking up here again, but it doesn't seem to be settling into fine lines. Of course, it hasn't been that long since I put it on, and again I'll update you in the comments once I've uploaded this video and let you know how it wore through the day, whether it did end up settling into any fine lines or whether it moved throughout the day or caked up or anything like that. But at this stage I think it looks really, really beautiful, and I think it is a lovely foundation. So now I'm going to go back into the room and do a light dusting of powder to my face, and then we'll put on some eyeshadow and we'll take a look at the eyeliners. The other thing that this foundation claims is that it doesn't transfer. So I've just got a paper towel in front of me, and I'm just going to just slightly press it over the foundation and just see if there is any transfer, and there is a slight bit of transfer. I'm just going to hold that up. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there definitely is some transfer. And I've had this foundation on now for a good 10 minutes or so, and sort of as a comparison, the Estee Lauder Double Wear, that is more matte than this foundation, but once you put it on after a few minutes, if I went to do that, there would be absolutely no transfer with that foundation at all. So I think to get the no transfer from this foundation, you would need to powder it down, which is what I'm going to do anyway. So I'm going to use the Sisley powder because I find this one just a little bit lighter than some of the other powders that I've got. And to put it on, I'm just going to grab the BK Beauty brush. This is the 102, just a really light fluffy brush. This Sisley powder is really beautiful, but it can be a little bit messy. So I'm just going to give it the smallest shake. Sometimes too much comes out and it gets a little bit messy. Now I've got to shake it again. Probably now too much will come out. And I'm just going to just lightly dab that brush in and just take off some of the excess, because I just want to lightly powder this foundation. I don't want to buff it in too much. So I'm just going to pat it over, and I think that'll give it a really beautiful finish. That was just a very light dusting with the powder, but now it feels a lot better. Before I thought that it really did need powdering down, and though I didn't use mattifying powder, so I didn't really buff it in. I just gave a very light dusting with the Sisley, and that's now made the finish absolutely perfect, and I can still see a bit of a glow come through as well. So with that light dusting the powder, I think it looks really beautiful, and you're probably not going to get any transfer now. So when they say it isn't transferable, it definitely is. I've now put some concealer on and powdered over that concealer as well. I've also put eyeshadow primer on, and I've done my eyebrows. So now I'm going to put some bronzer on, and this is a Guerlain one. This is from the Terracotta Light series. I love this bronzer. I use it a lot. It's really, really beautiful. This is what it looks like if you haven't seen them before. Now this is in shade 04 Deep Cool, and I love it so much that I thought I'd try some others. So I've just ordered 04 in the warm, I've ordered 03 in the cool, and 03 in the warm as well. I just think they are beautiful bronzers. They give such a gorgeous subtle glow to the skin. They also blend really beautifully as well. So I'm going to take the Sonia G. This is the Niji Pro brush. I now have 2 of these. My absolute favourite brush for putting on bronzer. Although Sonia G is soon going to be releasing another bronzer brush. So I'm going to be picking that up and just see what it's like. But this brush, it just disperses the product really beautifully. I suppose diffuses is a better word, and it just does a beautiful job at applying the bronzer. But the bronzer itself is really lovely too. So now I'm going to put on some eyeshadow using one of the new Guerlain quads. This is the one Imperial Moon. As I said earlier in the video, I have the other 5 quads, and my favourite 2 out of those are Majestic Rose and Royal Jungle. The formula of these is really beautiful, but I was dying to get my hands on Imperial Moon. It's more of a cooler palette, and I think it's really beautiful. I've used it once or twice since I got this. I think I got it last week, and I just love the look that it gives. So I'm not going to go over this in much detail, but I will hold it up quickly for those of you that haven't seen it. So that's the colour story of Imperial Moon. It's just really, really beautiful. And I'm not going to talk too much while putting this eyeshadow on. Probably what I'll do is either speed it up a bit or just show a few seconds of each shadow and applying them, and put some music to it as well.
Stay another minute, let me hold you. You might be late for work, that's okay. Every day I get to know you, and all your flaws are nothing to change. I love it when you wake up, freckles with no makeup. I just wanna take up all your time and stay put. Humor mixed with perfume takes over the bedroom. I was built to love you, you know. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody else like you? Anybody else like you? I think I found an angel. Is there anybody else like you? Anybody else like you? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I know that every second you're gone, it's like heaven slipped away. You're the reason that I'm chasing. A smile like that can make no mistakes.
That Guerlain quad is absolutely beautiful. So now amongst my favourites out of that collection is the Majestic Rose, the Royal Jungle, and also now the Imperial Moon. I think it gives a really beautiful finish to the eyes. So I'm just going to show you the eyeliners that I picked up. The colours that I picked up were Plum Peony, and I've also got Brown Earth, and also Jungle Green, as well as Night Blue. So I'll just quickly swatch these on the back of my hand so you can take a look. So these eyeliners are called Long Lasting, and they are supposed to be waterproof, and they also have a pull off lid, and I'll just click that back on, and in the end there should be a sharpener. So there is a little sharpener at the end, and you can twist that up and also twist it back down again. So this one here is Night Blue, and then the next one along just here, this one is called Jungle Green. Then we have Brown Earth, and then the last one is called Plum Peony. So I'm just going to leave all of these on the back of my hand, and when I'm just near the end of the video I will give them a rub, and we'll just see how resistant they are to any type of wear. So I think for today's video I'm going to use the brown one, the one called Brown Earth. I've now got on some mascara. I've also put on blush and lipstick. For the mascara I use the Chanel Le Volume, and for the blush I use this beautiful Sisley blush. I did a video the other day of a full face of Sisley and used the pink one, and today I used the coral one. These blushes are just stunning. I think they blend beautifully and they give a gorgeous sheen to the cheeks, just gorgeous. And the lipstick that I put on is a Guerlain one, it's the Kiss Kiss, and this is in Floral Nude. I have a backup of this. I love this lipstick and I wear it a lot. I think it's really beautiful. The eyeliners, these Guerlain eyeliners are fantastic. If they don't move throughout the day, then I think they have a chance of actually beating the Chanel eyeliners, because when you put them on, they just really glide on. The Chanel eyeliners are smooth as well, but I would say that these Guerlain eyeliners are smoother than that. They are really beautiful. So there's absolutely no tugging on your lids when you put it on, which is fantastic when you have mature skin. The skin on your eyes gets a lot looser as you age. These are just beautiful. And the eyeliners that I've still got on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to give them a rub now. And it doesn't, and I'm pressing quite hard, and they don't seem to be budging. So I think that these eyeliners are going to be fantastic. So if I remember when I pin the comment about the foundation, I'll also mention the eyeliners too and how they wore throughout the day. So with the finished look, I think the foundation is looking really beautiful, and I've been in and out and doing some other things as well. So it's been at least a good hour since I first put this foundation on, and just like I said, with the light dusting of the powder, that natural glow of the foundation has come back, and that's what happens with my oily skin, and that's why I tend to powder my face, but it was just a light dusting. So the foundation still looks really beautiful. I think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous foundation. I think it's very flattering on mature skin. The only thing that they say it isn't transferable, and it is. And I would say it probably is, even with the powder on as well. It doesn't transfer off in a huge amount, but there's definitely some transfer there. So I'm just going to grab this paper towel again and just find a clean spot on it where there isn't any foundation. So there's a little bit here, and I'm just going to press it now just against the foundation and just see. There is less transfer, but then of course I have got the powder on. There is a slight amount on there. I don't think you'd be able to see on the camera, but just there, it's just that little bit of discoloration. So the transfer isn't huge, but it isn't a non-transferable foundation. But then a lot of the foundations that I own and love, they aren't non-transferable as well. I think the only one that I have that is truly non-transferable would probably be, there'd be two of them. I think it's the Chanel, the Velvet one, that doesn't transfer. And the other one would be the Estee Lauder, the Double Wear, but all the other foundations that I have do transfer to some degree. So it's not really a big thing. It's just that they said that it wouldn't, and it does a little bit. But overall, I think that the foundation is really beautiful. So I will be wearing this for the rest of the day. And like I said, I'll probably wear it for at least 12 hours. And when I upload this video tonight, as I said, I will put a comment and let you know how it wore and what I thought of it. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time. Bye.